Hello scholars, welcome to Dakshinai classroom. This is going to be your third lecture of magnetic field and magnetism. Until now, in the previous lectures, we have already discussed that how a straight current carrying conductor or any current carrying conductor, when placed inside an external magnetic field, it experiences some amount of force. In today's lecture, we are going to talk about when a current carrying conductor itself, how a current carrying conductor itself can produce a magnetic field. So until now, we have studied the effect of magnetic field on a current carrying conductor. In today's lecture, we will talk about how a current carrying conductor itself can produce a magnetic field. So let us first list out the topics which we are going to cover in today's lecture. So the first topic or the subtopic which we will talk about is Oersted's experiment. We will see what is Oersted's experiment. Second topic or the subtopic which we will talk about is Biot-Savart law. All these are related to how electricity generates magnetic field. Until now, we have seen the effect of magnetic field on the electricity or the current. So third topic which will be field, and when I say field, I mean magnetic field. Field due to a straight current carrying conductor. This will be the third topic. Fourth topic, we will see how field is generated at the center of a circular loop. So fourth topic will be field at the center of a circular loop. That will be the fourth topic. And the fifth topic which we will cover in today's lecture is actually definition of ampere. You already know ampere is the unit of current, SI unit. So how do we define ampere? So that we will study under the fifth topic. So fifth topic will be force between two parallel current carrying conductors. Two parallel current carrying conductors. Using this force, what is the force between two parallel current carrying conductors? Using this, we will define what is the definition of ampere. How do we define the ampere, which is SI unit of current? So you can pause the video and note down these topics. So first let us talk about Oersted's experiment. Now what is Oersted's experiment? In this experiment, actually this experiment is nothing but a very basic way to demonstrate that electricity and magnetism are related. Now what happens in this experiment? I will try to explain in a very simpler way. What happens is, you have a current carrying conductor. There is a current carrying conductor and current is flowing in this conductor. Let us say initially there is no current. And here this is your conductor, this is your connecting wire, and here there is a switch, and here I have a battery. This is your circuit. Now, what happens is, if I place a magnetic needle here, if I place a magnetic needle like this, one is north pole, one is south pole. Now, initially when there is no current through the wire and magnetic needle aligns itself, this is a compass needle, it aligns itself along the direction of north-south. And here I have placed my wire such that this is the direction of north-south. Now, when there is no current through the wire, magnetic needle is along the direction of north-south, it points towards north. Now, if I switch on the current, if I close this switch, if I close the switch, then what happens? What should be my observation? Remember, there is no net charge on this wire. Doesn't matter whether your current is flowing or not. And anyway, electric field does not influence your compass needle. So, the only way I can influence my compass needle if there is a magnetic field. So, in the absence of current, the compass needle aligns itself in the direction of Earth's magnetic field. You have already studied in the previous classes that Earth has its own magnetic field. Now, when the current is passed through this wire, so I have closed the switch, now current will be passing like this. Now, what is observed? It is observed that when the current is passed, the compass needle is deflected from its original position. Meaning, if initially this was your current and the compass needle was here, this is your like compass needle say, and this is your wire, and initially there was no current, so compass needle was like this. And if I am passing the current through wire, then what happens? Compass needle is deflected like this, it deflects. So while the current is passing through the wire, the direction, alignment of compass needle changes. It no longer points towards the north. And if I switch off the current, if I open the circuit once again, then once again compass needle becomes towards the north. So that shows that due to the act of passing current, there was a change in magnetic field present in this area. How we can say that? We can say that because this needle, this compass needle is magnetic, it aligns itself in the direction of magnetic field present in the area. So initially there was only Earth's magnetic field. So it aligned itself towards the Earth's magnetic field direction. When I switched on the current, it changes its direction. So it changes its direction, meaning the total magnetic field in this area changes. Meaning, who is producing the extra magnetic field? The current carrying conductor should be producing the extra magnetic field. So here, this experiment demonstrates that by passing a current through this wire, we are able to change or we are able to deflect the compass needle. And since we are able to deflect the compass needle, means that there is a magnetic field generated by this wire. So, first point what you will write in the Oersted experiment. 1. Current, by passing current, compass needle can be deflected. This shows, second, This shows that current carrying wire generates its own magnetic field, because only magnetic field can force the compass needle to change its direction. So second is this. Third point. Now initially current was flowing like this. So if the current was flowing like this, let us say compass needle got deflected in this way. What happens if I reverse the direction of current? If I reverse the direction, meaning if I make this minus, if I reverse the direction of current, now current becomes like this. So it is observed that if I reverse the direction of current, then the direction of deflection is also reversed, meaning the direction of magnetic field produced by this wire depends upon the direction of flow of current. Because if it did not depend on the direction of flow, then does not matter which way my current is flowing, needle should always deflect in the same direction. But when the current was like this, needle was deflecting like this, and when current is passing this way, needle is deflecting this way. So deflection of needle depends upon the direction of flow of current. So we can say the direction of magnetic field, because magnetic field is a field like an electric field. You have already studied about electric field. Electric field is a vector, it has a direction, it has a magnitude. Same way magnetic field, it is a vector, it has a direction, it has a magnitude. So the direction of magnetic field depends upon the direction of flow of current. So that is the third observation you can draw from Oersted's experiment. So third observation is direction of field. Direction of field depends upon direction of current. If the direction of current is changed, direction of field is also changed. So this was Oersted's experiment in a very simple way. So Oersted's experiment, what it did is, it established before this experiment, electricity and magnetism, they were considered a different phenomenon. It was considered that electricity is a different thing, magnetism is a different thing. So by this experiment, Oersted established or demonstrated that no, electricity and magnetism are not two different things. They are one and the same thing. By flow of current, we are able to produce magnetic field. So electricity and magnetism are nothing but two branches of same thing, which is called electromagnetism. So now you can pause the video and take notes. So now by the use of Oersted's experiment, we have already established that electricity can generate magnetic field. A current carrying conductor can generate magnetic field. Now the obvious question should be what? The obvious question should be, if it can generate magnetic field, then how much is that magnetic field? What is the strength of that magnetic field? So if we have a current carrying conductor, then let us try to calculate how much is that magnetic field. So this is calculated under Biot-Savart law. Now let us try to find out what is this law. So let us take a current carrying conductor. So for the purpose of this law, we are taking a random shape conductor. It can be any shape. Now Now let us assume that current is flowing like this, upward direction, I current. Now let us say that there is a one small cross section of this wire of length dl, like this. Now you already know, in case of magnetic field, this dl can be taken as a vector, and the direction of this dl will be in the direction of current. So the direction of this dl will be like this direction, like this. Now if I want to find the magnetic field produced by this dl section, this is a dl section of this wire passing current I. So let us say I want to find the magnetic field at this point P. So if I want to find the magnetic field at point P due to this dl cross section. Now, so first thing I need to do is, I need to find the position vector of the point at which I am trying to find the magnetic field. So this is point P. So from the cross section, this is your position vector, which is r vector. So what is r vector? First point. What is r vector? R vector is the position vector of point P where you want to find the magnetic field. From where? From the element dl of the current carrying conductor. So what is r vector? R is the position vector of point P from dl element of current carrying conductor. So there is a current carrying conductor. dl is the element of this conductor. That conductor can be any shape. From dl, position vector of point P. P is the point at which I want to find the magnetic field produced due to this element, and r is the position vector of that point P from the current carrying conductor, that element, this dl. Now, so if this is your position vector, then magnetic field due to this dl at this point can be written as dB, because since this is a small section, magnetic field produced by this is also taken as small, dB. So dB magnetic field due to this dl may be written as mu naught by 4 pi I is the current through that element, multiplied by dl vector cross product with position vector divided by magnitude of position vector cube. This is your magnetic field produced by this dl element which is carrying current I at point P, where r is the position vector of that point P. So this statement is the mathematical form of this Biot-Savart law. So this equation or this formula, anything you can write, this equation is mathematical form of Biot-Savart law. So if you want to find the magnetic field, you can use this. Now only one thing you don't know here, that is mu naught. What is mu naught? Mu naught is called your permittivity of vacuum. Now we will study about this in detail later. that mu naught is the permittivity of vacuum and its value is 4 pi into 10 to the power minus 7, 10 to the power minus 7 Tesla meter per ampere. That is the mu naught. So if you want to find the magnetic field due to a very small section at a given point P, then find the position vector of that point P from this small section. Take that small section as vector. Direction of the vector can be taken as direction of current through that vector. Now remember, here current can be in other direction. At some point current can be in other direction. So direction will be taken current through that vector, that section. So dB is the field produced due to this section at this point, can be written as mu naught by 4 pi. I is the current through the section, dl, the dl section vector, cross product with r vector divided by r cube. Now let us try to find out what should be the direction of field here. dl cross r. This is dl, this is r. So dl cross r inside. So field at this point P should be your inside the board. Now remember, we are not talking about field due to this entire wire. We are talking about field due to only this small section, because field due to entire wire may be different, may be complicated, but small section we can calculate. So now you can pause the video and take down your notes. So now let us try to solve a question based on what Biot-Savart law we have just studied. Now what was the law? Law was that for a small section, if you know the position vector, you can find the magnetic field. Now let us read the question. A wire placed along north-south direction carries a current of 10 ampere from south to north direction. So this is your wire. North-south direction carries a current of 10 ampere. Okay. Find magnetic field due to 1 centimeter section of wire. Okay. There is a 1 centimeter section of wire at a point 200 centimeter northeast direction from the section. So this is the section. So from the section 200 centimeter. Now 200 centimeter can be anywhere, but they have said which direction? Northeast direction from the section. So this is south, this is north. And if this is your east, the northeast will be 45 degree from here. So let us say this point P. So this is 200 centimeter. Now which direction? Northeast, meaning this angle will be how much? 45. Now what was your formula? Formula was dB vector will be equal to mu naught by 4 pi I, and dl direction section dl vector cross position vector divided by r cube. Now if you remember, cross product can also be written as mod of dl, mod of r, and sine theta. What is sine theta? Sine theta is the angle between dl vector and r vector. So here dl vector is from south to north along the direction of current carrying conductor, and this is your r vector. This is your r vector. So angle between dl vector and r vector is how much? 45 degree. So theta is here 45 degree. So this formula, only the magnitude can be written as mu naught I divided by 4 pi mod dl mod r sine 45 and mod r cube r square. So this will be dl sine 45 or sine theta you can write divided by r square. Now let us put the values. Value of mu naught is 4 pi into 10 to the power minus 7. 4 pi cancel. 10 to the power minus 7, current is 10 ampere. So here it will be 10 to the power minus 7 multiplied by 10. Further multiplied by, what is DL? DL is 1 centimeter here. So in meter it will be 10 to the power minus 2. Sin 45. Sin 45 is 1 by root 2. So 1 by root 2. And R square. What is R? 200 centimeter magnitude. 200 centimeter in meter will be 2. So 2 square. 2 square will be 4. So this will be your 4 root 2. And upside will be 10 to the power minus 7, 10 to the power minus 2, 10 to the power minus 9 plus 1, 10 to the power minus 8. So 1 by 4 root 2 into 10 to the power minus 8. So 1 by 4 root 2 into 10 to the power minus 8 Tesla. And approximately it can be written as around 1.8 into 10 to the power minus 9 Tesla. So this will be the magnetic field at this point P, not due to entire wire. This is not the field due to entire wire. This is only the field due to this small section of the wire, and from this small section, this point is where is 200 centimeter northeast direction from that section. So this way you can find magnetic field at any given point. If I say find the magnetic field at this point, the only thing you need is position vector. You already know DL vector. You will need position vector. You will know angle between them. You already know mu naught value. So you can find. So anyway, you can use this formula to find the magnetic field. So using the Biot-Savart law, you can find the magnetic field due to a small section. Now we can use the Biot-Savart law to find the magnetic field due to the entire wire. So let us talk about the next point, which is magnetic field due to a straight wire, a straight current carrying wire. If there is no current, there is no magnetic field. So if there is a straight current carrying conductor from here to here, let us write it as point A, point B. Point A and B are two ends. Now, so if I want to find the magnetic field at point P, current flowing through the wire is I, then the first thing you need to know, whenever you want to find the magnetic field due to straight current conductor of finite size, then the first thing you need to know is what is the perpendicular distance of that point P from the wire. So first thing you need to find is D, small d. What is small d? Small d is your perpendicular distance of point P from the wire. So first thing you will find is at what perpendicular distance this point. What is point P? Point where you want to find the magnetic field due to the entire wire. Okay, so that perpendicular distance. Now, this derivation, it can be derived using the Biot-Savart law. That is a little bit complicated. We will not go into the derivation, but the magnetic field due to this entire wire at this point P can be written as B magnitude will be equal to mu naught I divided by 4 pi d, and cos theta 1. What is cos theta 1? Angle from one end. From this end, if you want to find the P, then what angle is there? Theta 1 plus cos theta 2. What is theta 2? From the other end what angle does the point P makes? So theta 1 and theta 2 are the acute angles. Remember, these are the acute angles. Acute angles point P makes from the two ends of your wire. So the magnetic field at point P due to the entire wire may be written as B is equal to mu naught I divided by 4 pi d cos theta 1 plus cos theta 2. Now this is your magnetic field, only the magnitude. Then how you will find the direction of this field? Now a very easy way to find the direction of your field is curl your fingers along the current carrying conductor. Curl your fingers along the current carrying conductor in such a way that your thumb points towards the direction of current. Thumb points towards the direction of current. Curl your fingers. So the direction of curling of your fingers, that tells you the direction of your magnetic field. So in this case, this is my thumb, this is the direction of current. Right hand, don't use left hand, right hand. So thumb of your right hand along the direction of current, curl your fingers. So curl inside. So at point P, due to this wire, field will be inside. So what you can write? Direction of magnetic field can be found by curling fingers of right hand around wire with thumb pointing towards direction of current. So if you curl your fingers in such a way that thumb points towards the direction of current, then the direction of curling of your fingers, this direction of curling of your fingers tells us the direction of magnetic field at this point P. So this way you can find the magnetic field due to a finite wire. Now you can pause the video and note it down. Now in field due to a straight wire, there is a special case. There is a special case in field due to infinite wire. So here it is a finite wire, meaning the length of the wire is known. It is a finite length. So special case is if wire is infinite length. Now when we say infinite length, we don't actually mean infinite. We mean that length is very large. Length is very large compared to this distance d. So infinite length, when you say infinite length, so length of wire, let's say capital L. Capital L is very large compared to d. That is your infinite meaning, not actually infinite wire. So in this case, what happens? So what was the field? Field was your B. Field was B equals mu naught I divided by 4 pi d cos theta 1 plus cos theta 2, where theta 1 and theta 2 are the angle made by point P with the two ends of the wire. Now, if this length is very large, when it goes down, see, when this point is going down, and if I try to draw the here angle, then as this point A goes down, this theta 1 decreases, starts decreasing. So if this length is infinite, then theta 1 is almost 0. Same way, if this length is infinite, then this theta 2 will start decreasing. And if, for example, say like this, so see, as we increase this theta 2 dash, so obviously this angle is less than this. So as you increase the length, this theta 1, theta 2 starts decreasing. So for infinite length, theta 1 and theta 2 will be almost 0. So what you can write here? B is equal to mu naught I divided by 4 pi d bracket cos 0 plus cos 0, 2 times cos 0. And what is the value of cos 0? Cos 0 is 1, so that is 2. So your field will be B equals mu naught I divided by 4 pi d multiplied by 2 upward. So it will be twice pi d, where d is the perpendicular distance of point P from the wire. So you can remember this formula. This formula is very useful when you are trying to find the magnetic field due to a straight current carrying conductor. So if you remember this formula, and if you are given a wire of any length, then you can find the magnetic field. And for infinitely long wire, you can remember this formula. B is equal to mu naught I divided by 2 pi d. Once again, direction can be found using right hand thumb rule. Thumb towards the direction of current, curl your fingers. The curling of your fingers will tell you the direction of field. Now, this field, see, this field depends upon only D, because I is the current throughout the wire, mu naught is the universal constant, pi is a constant, 2 is a constant. So D. So if the field depends only on the D value, what is D value? Perpendicular distance from the current carrying conductor. So if this is my current carrying conductor, let's say upward direction, then from here at each distance, at each equal distance, magnetic field will be same, like this. So from this wire does not mean whether I go here or here or here or here in any direction. If I go at a perpendicular distance d, then the magnetic field should be same. So what does that mean? That means if I go anywhere and magnetic field is same, meaning what should be the shape of field lines around a straight wire? So if any direction field is same, then that is what? That is circular. That circular is equidistance. Every point on the circle is equidistance. So in this case, in a straight current carrying conductor, field lines will be what? Field lines will be in the form of concentric circles. When you change the distance d, your strength changes, and if the strength changes, field lines your changes. So if you want to if you want to draw the magnetic field lines around a current carrying conductor or a straight current carrying conductor, so what will be the shape of those field lines? The shape of those field lines will be concentric circles with the center at the wire. And if you want to know the strength, then as you move away from the wire, as the value of D increases, your strength of magnetic field decreases. So here you can write as note. You can write as note. Field lines around a straight conductor form concentric circles with center at the wire. So center will be at the wire and field lines will form concentric circles. Now you can pause the video and note it down. Now before we move on to the next topic, let us try to solve a question based on what we have just learned. Now you can pause the video and try to solve it yourself. Now the question is, consider a 10 centimeter long wire carrying a current of 10 ampere. So this wire length is 10 centimeter and it is carrying a current of 10 ampere. Okay. Find magnetic field at a point which makes equilateral triangle with ends of the wire. Meaning this point is P. And if I join this point P from the ends of the wire, then this triangle which is forming here, it is an equilateral triangle. Now, so what was the formula? Formula was B equals mu naught I divided by 4 pi d cos theta 1 plus cos theta 2. Now, what is D? D is the perpendicular distance from the wire. So this is D. So this is your D, perpendicular distance. We have dropped a perpendicular. Now, what was cos theta 1 and theta 2? Theta 1 and theta 2 are nothing but angle made by the point P from the ends of the wire, like this. So this is theta 1, this is theta 1, this is theta 2. Okay. So let's find B equals mu naught is 4 pi into 10 to the power minus 7. So 4 pi cancel. So 10 to the power minus 7 multiplied by I. What is I? Current, 10 ampere. So 10 divided by value of D. What would be the value of D? If this is an equilateral triangle and this side is 10 centimeter, then this will also be 10 centimeter. Or 10 to the power minus 1 meter you can write, but let's write 10 centimeter. So 10 centimeter it is. And if this is T, this is equilateral, then this total is 60 degree and half will be 30 degree. Then D can be written as nothing but, see, this is a 90 degree angle triangle, right? So this is 10 centimeter, cos 30 will be equal to D. So D is nothing but 10 cos 30 centimeter. Cos 30 is root 3 by 2. So D is nothing but 5 root 3 centimeter. So in place of D I can write 5 root 3. It is in centimeter. So 10 to the power minus 2 meter. Now here cos theta 1 plus cos theta 2. This is an equilateral triangle. So all the internal angles are 60 degree. This is 60, this is 60, this total was 60. So cos theta 1 is 60. Cos 60 is 1 by 2. Theta 2 is 60. Cos 60 is 1 by 2. So 2 times cos 60, which is 1 by 2. Like this. So 2 into 1 by 2 is 1. No problem. So here it comes out to be B equals 10 to the power minus 7 plus 1. 10 to the power minus 5 divided by 10 to the power minus 2. Sorry, 10 to the power minus 6 divided by 10 to the power minus 2, which is 10 to the power minus 4. So it will be 1 by 5 root 3 into 10 to the power minus 4 Tesla. And if you want to solve this, this will come out to be approximately 11.5 micro Tesla. Approximately. So in this way, by using this formula, you can find magnetic field at any point due to a short wire. So how you will find? First thing, you will find the perpendicular distance. Then you will find the angle made by the point with the ends of the wire. And when that is known, put the values in the formula and you will get magnetic field, magnitude of magnetic field at that point. And if you want to find the direction, thumb, right hand thumb along the direction of current, curl your fingers. The direction of curling is along the direction of magnetic field. Now, I am assuming that nobody curls its finger backward. So I am assuming you all curl your fingers like this. Don't curl your finger backwards. So now you can pause the video and note down this question. Now let us try to find the field at the center of a circular loop. This is my circular loop. Radius of the loop is given as small r. This is the circular loop. This is current carrying conductor in the shape of a circular loop. Now how current can flow in the circular loop, that you need not be concerned with. The problem here is there is a current carrying conductor and the current is flowing in a circular loop. So I want to find the magnetic field. Since this is a current carrying conductor, there will be magnetic field. So I want to find the magnetic field at the center of this loop. So we will use Biot-Savart law in order to find the field at the center of loop. Now what was that law? Law is that dB, field due to small section dl of the wire, may be written as mu naught I divided by 4 pi dl vector cross product with r vector divided by r cube, magnitude of r cube. Now, so what I need to do is, I will take a small section. So let us take a small section here. This is a small section. This is such a small section that it can be considered almost straight line. In a circular loop, in a circle, when you take a small section of that circle, you can consider that small section. If that section is small enough, that can be considered as almost straight line. What would be the direction of that vector? In the direction of current. So here current direction will be what? Tangent to the circle. So direction of this vector can be taken as tangent to the circle, like this. Now second thing I need is position vector of the point where I want to find the field. Which point I want to find the field? I want to find the field at the center. So I need the position vector of that point. From which point? From this element. Do not get confused. Do not find the position vector of this element from center. No. We need r. What is r? R is the position vector of the point where you want to find the field. From where? From the element which is producing the field. So this element is producing the field. So what is the position vector? This vector from this to C, that will be your position vector. Now you know that the tangent makes an angle of 90 degree with radius. You draw any tangent on a circle, it will always form an angle of 90 degree with radius. So magnitude can be written as what? dB will be equal to mu naught I divided by 4 pi dl r by r cube and sine 90, like this. So it will be how much? Sine 90 is 1. So dB is equal to mu naught I, r cancel, sine 90 is 1, mu naught I dl 4 pi r square. This is the magnitude of field due to this small section. Where? At the center. Now see, If I take this section anywhere, everywhere the angle with position vector will be 90 and magnitude of each will be same. Now, what about the direction? See here, dl is downward like this, cross r like this. See, downward, cross r like this, cross r. So outward. So here if I take, there also it will be outward, here also outward, here also outward. So I take my section anywhere on this circle, closed loop, then the direction of magnetic field at the center will always be like this, coming out of your board. So if the direction of field due to all the small sections on this circle will be outward, then all of these fields can be added together. And if all of the fields can be added together, then what I can do? I can integrate this field in order to find the total field due to this loop at the center. Why I am able to integrate? I am able to integrate because no matter where I take my section, the field due to that section at the center will always be in the same direction. It cannot happen that current is anti-clockwise in the loop. Field due to this section is outward, field due to this section is inward. That is not possible. If the current in the entire loop is same direction, then field at the center will also be in the same direction. So here I can integrate. So integration of this dB can be written as total magnetic field. And here mu naught I by 4 pi square outside, because this is a constant, mu naught I by 4 pi r square integration dl. Now what is dl here? What is this dl? dl is nothing but a small section of circumference of the circle, of the circular loop. So if you integrate that small section entire loop, then what you will get? You will get the circumference of the circle. And what is the circumference of the circle? 2 pi r. So integration dl will be nothing but how much? 2 pi r. So write that here. So let's write dB equals mu naught I divided by 4 pi r square times 2 pi r. Pi cancel. 4 2 1 r cancel. So B will be equal to mu naught I divided by, pi is cancelled, 2 is cancelled, 1 r is cancelled, divided by twice of r. So magnetic field at the center of a circular loop which is carrying the current I, current here is I, can be written as B is equal to mu naught I divided by 2r. So this is your magnetic field at the center. Now how you can find the direction? How you can find the direction? Very easy. As before, right hand thumb rule. If I curl my fingers along the direction of current, then thumb gives me the direction of field at the center. Or there is another way. Okay, tell me, which direction you think your current is going? Current is going anti-clockwise or clockwise? To you, it looks like current is anti-clockwise. So the magnetic field will be coming towards you. Magnetic field will be coming towards you. And if you look at and the current looks like clockwise, then the magnetic field will be going away from you. So that is another way of finding the direction of magnetic field. So if I look at the field here, so to me and to you guys, it looks like the current is going in the anti-clockwise direction. Then magnetic field will be going towards you like this. And if somebody is standing behind this board, so for him, magnetic field, for him the current will look like clockwise. So for him, magnetic field will going away from him. So that way also you can find the direction of field. And the magnitude formula is mu naught I divided by twice of R, where I is the current through the loop and R is the radius of that loop. You can pause the video and note it down. This formula you must remember. So let us solve a question based on what we have just studied. Now we just studied what is the magnetic field at the center of a current carrying loop. Now what was the formula? Formula was B equals mu naught I divided by twice of R, where R is the radius of loop. Now in this question it is given, find the field at the center of a semicircular loop wire of radius 10 centimeter carrying a current of 5 ampere at its center. Now we have studied the formula at the center of a circular loop, but they are asking for a semicircular. Then what to do? If you remember, the total magnetic field was nothing but summation of field of all the small section. So using that I can find the field due to any part of the loop. So let us generalize this. So let us say I have an arc like this, and this arc makes an angle of theta in radian, theta at the center. So if I have an arc, this arc makes an angle of theta at the center and the current flowing is I. And if I want to find the field due to this arc at the center, then what I can do? This is field due to entire loop. So field due to this arc may be written as B equals, due to entire loop will be mu naught I by 2R. So due to, let us say 360 degree. So due to 360 degree is this. Due to 1 degree will be how much? Divided by 360. Divided by 360. And due to theta degree will be how much? Multiplied by theta. So if the theta is given in degrees, then mu naught I by 2R multiplied by theta by 360. And if theta is given in radian, then you can simply say mu naught I by 2R multiplied by theta divided by 2 pi. Because at the center entire circle makes an angle of how much? 2 pi. So when we talk about semicircle, so what angle semicircle makes at its center? Pi angle. So here theta equals what? Here theta equals pi. Put that value here. So B will be equal to mu naught I divided by 2R into pi by 2 pi, which is 1 by 2. So will be mu naught I by 4R will be the total magnetic field. So solve this. Mu naught is 4 pi into 10 to the power minus 7. 4 cancel. Pi into 10 to the power minus 7. Pi into I, what is current? 5 ampere. 5 into 5 into 10 to the power minus 7 divided by radius. What is radius? Radius here is 10 centimeter, which is 10 to the power minus 1 meter. So that is your 5 pi into 10 to the power minus 6 Tesla. That is your magnetic field at the center of your loop. If you solve this, this will be approximately 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 5 Tesla. So at this center of a semicircular wire, field will be this much. So what is the general formula? General formula is this. Field at the center of any arc. That arc can make any angle at the center. It should be a regular arc. So field at the center of that arc may be written as mu naught I by 2R multiplied by theta divided by 2 pi, where theta is taken in radian. So you can remember this formula, pause the video and note it down and try to remember this formula if possible. So until now we have already studied that an electric current can produce its own magnetic field, and when you place a current carrying conductor inside an external magnetic field, it will experience some amount of force. This leads to a very interesting situation here, that is force between two parallel current carrying conductors. Meaning here we have two wires. This is wire 1, this is wire 2. They are straight wires and they are parallel to each other. Now, both of them are carrying current, not necessarily same amount. One is I1, other is I2. They can be same, they can be different. Now, we have studied that they will produce magnetic field. So this will produce its own magnetic field, this will produce its own magnetic field. So let us consider that field produced by this first wire. So this wire will produce circular fields around it like this. So when this wire produces field, so this second wire is placed inside the magnetic field of first wire. So magnetic field of first wire will try to exert some amount of force on the second wire. So they both will apply force on each other. Newton's third law. If the first wire is applying force on second wire, then the second wire must apply the same amount of force on the first wire. It will be equal and opposite. So here both wires will apply force on each other. Now how much is that force? Let us try to find out. Now see here. So let us say take small section. Take a small section. Take a small section DL at wire 2, second wire. So let us take a small section DL. This is DL. Now, field produced by the first wire at the point of DL section, at DL, what will be? So, field by first wire, by the first wire at DL will be how much? Equal to B will be how much? Due to a wire, right now we are assuming these wires are of infinite length. They are infinite length. So we have already studied that due to an infinitely long straight wire, what is field? Field is nothing but mu naught I1, which is the current in the wire, divided by twice pi d. What is d? Now this d and that dl is different. So this is your perpendicular distance of dl from the current field producing wire. So 2 pi d. Now do not confuse between this d and this dl. They are different. Now, so this is the field due to this wire at here. Now what is its direction? Finger, thumb towards the direction of current, finger, inside. So here field is inside. And what is the direction of DL? Upward, direction of current. So this field will apply force on this DL section. Now what is the force? Force on DL due to dB. What will be this force? Not dB, you can write B because it is infinite wire, so no problem. So this can be written as here dF. dF will be equal to current. Now remember, when you are talking about force on a section, then you take current through that section. So here I am talking about force on this DL section. Then we will take current through that section. Then what is the current through that section? I2. Then what is force? dF is nothing but I. If you remember from your previous chapters, I2 times DL cross with B. This is your force. Now what is dl? dl is your like this. Where is the field direction? Field direction is straight inward. So dl cross b, force will be like this. So you can say dl and b has 90 degree to each other. They are at 90 degree angles from each other. So magnitude of this force can be written as how much? Magnitude of this force can be written as dF will be equal to I times mod dl mod b sin 90. Why sin 90? Because this is dl, this is your magnetic field inside the board. So angle is 90 degree. So sin 90. So I2 dl b sin 90. Sin 90 is 1. So like this. So here dF by dl, force per unit length on the second wire may be written as what? Current through second wire multiplied by field due to first wire, because second wire cannot apply the force on itself. Remember, second wire is also producing magnetic field, but a current carrying conductor can experience force only because of external field. They cannot experience force due to their own field. So this field has to be due to first wire. So B1 you can write, or B you can write, no problem. Let us say B1, no problem. So I2 B1, what is B1? Mu naught I1 divided by twice pi d. So this is dF by dl equals mu naught I1 I2 divided by twice pi d. So this is your force per unit length on the second wire due to first wire. Now here you see mu naught divided by 2 pi d will be constant, and I1 I2. So if you have Newton's third law, remember, action and reaction, they are equal in magnitude. So we have calculated for force on the second wire due to first wire, force per unit length on the second wire due to first wire. But if you calculate on the first wire due to second wire, then also you will get the same value. Newton's third law, every action has equal and opposite reaction. So only the direction of their forces will change, magnitude will remain same. So force per unit length between two infinitely long current carrying conductors, if they are parallel to each other. Why parallel? Parallel because this d will remain constant throughout. If they are not parallel, then this d will change, then the force will change. Then you cannot say this dF by dl is constant everywhere. No. So if they are parallel to each other, then force per unit length may be written as mu naught I1 I2 divided by twice pi d. So this is your force per unit length. You can pause the video and take down your notes. Now let us try to define SI unit of current, that is ampere, using the property of force between two current carrying conductors. Now we have already calculated how much will be the force per unit length. Since they are infinitely long wires, we cannot calculate total force. So here, if I want to define the SI unit of current, that is ampere, there will be certain restrictions. So what is the definition of ampere? It starts with, if two parallel or infinitely long, if two infinitely long parallel wires. So what is the first condition? First condition is that they should be infinitely long. That is the first condition. Second condition, they should be parallel to each other. Now, carry current of same amount. Third condition, amount of current, the magnitude of current in both the wires should be same, in the same direction. So the direction of current in both the wires should be same direction. So if two infinitely long wires are parallel to each other, they are carrying same amount of current in the same direction, and they are placed in vacuum. They should be placed in vacuum, not in some material. And they are placed in vacuum. If all these four conditions are applicable, infinitely long, parallel wires, same amount current, same direction of current, they are placed in vacuum. After all these conditions are satisfied, now then if force per unit length, then if dF by dL is equal to 2 into 10 to the power minus 7 Newton per meter, meaning after all these five conditions are applicable, then if dF by dL is equal to 10 to the power minus 7 Newton per meter. Now remember, they can be on any of the wires, because dF by dL is equal and opposite. So then if dF by dL is equal to this value, then current in both wires is said to be 1 ampere. Now you may ask, sir, why so many restrictions? So this is how your ampere is defined. Why it is defined like that, we will not go into that. That is a little bit beyond the scope of our discussion. So you can consider the definition of ampere like this: infinitely long wires, parallel wires, same current, same direction, in vacuum. Then if dF by dL is 2 into 10 to the power minus 7, then you can call current in both wires. The amount of current which was flowing, that would be how much? 1 ampere. So you can pause the video and note down this definition. Remember this value, 2 into 10 to the power 7, it should be exactly that much. If it is 4 into 10 to the power minus 7, then that would not be 1 ampere. So let us solve a question based on force between two parallel wires. Now you can pause the video and try to solve it yourself. The question is, two long straight wires carrying current of 5 ampere each are kept parallel to each other. So there are two long straight wires, they are parallel to each other and they are carrying current of 5 ampere each. Now separation between them is 2.5 centimeter. Find the force experienced by 10 centimeter of wire. Which wire? Anywhere, because force per unit length is equal and opposite. So it does not matter which wire you are taking, 10 centimeter section of any wire will experience same amount of force. So what you can say, dF by dL, force per unit length, is equal to how much? Current of first wire multiplied by magnetic field due to second wire, or current of second wire multiplied by magnetic field of first wire. Any one you can write. So df by dl will be equal to how much? Now current is same in both cases. So I times magnetic field due to the wire. Now what is the magnetic field due to the wire? Infinitely long wire. So magnetic field due to infinitely long wire is mu naught I divided by twice pi d, where what is d? D is the distance between the two wires, or the distance from perpendicular distance from the wire. Now, so this can be written as df equals mu naught I square divided by 2 pi d times dl. What is real? 10 centimeter. Now, so values are given. Let us find out. Mu naught is 4 pi into 10 to the power 7 divided by 2 pi. So 2 into 10 to the power minus 7. So 2 into 10 to the power minus 7 multiplied by I square. What is I square? 5 ampere square. So multiplied by 25 multiplied by dl. What is real? 10 centimeter. So 10 to the power minus 1 meter divided by 2 pi we have already cancelled out. D, what is D? D is the distance between them. What is the separation between two wires? 2.5 centimeter. So 2.5 into 10 to the power minus 2 meter. Now 2.5 will be here 10. So 10 into 10 to the power minus 1, that will cancel out. 2 into, yes. So this will be force on the 10 centimeter section of the wire will be 2 into 10 to the power minus 5 Newton. So 10 centimeter section of any wire, because Newton's third law, equal and opposite. So 10 centimeter section of any of these two wires will experience how much? 2 into 10 to the power minus 5 Newton of force. So this way you can use that formula I1 times B2. You can also write is I2 times B1. Same thing. You will get the same value. So this was your lecture 3 of magnetic field and magnetism. In this lecture we have talked about how a current carrying conductor can produce magnetic field. That was demonstrated under Oersted experiment. Now based on Biot-Savart law, we were able to find the magnitude of magnetic field. We also tried to find the magnitude of magnetic field at a point P due to a finite straight current carrying conductor. And using that we were able to find the magnitude of magnetic field due to an infinitely long current carrying conductor. We also talked about magnetic field at the center of a current carrying loop, and through a question we discussed what would be the magnetic field at this center if that loop is not complete circle, if it is just an arc. We also discussed that through a question. We also saw the definition of ampere. Ampere, that is unit of current, SI unit of current. We defined current or ampere as the force on the basis of force between two infinitely long current carrying conductors. So this will be the end of your lecture number 3. In the next lecture we will talk about an easy way. Biot-Savart law are a little bit difficult to control or to calculate magnetic field using Biot-Savart law. So in the next lecture we will talk about a little bit easier way to calculate magnetic field. Until then, revise your topics and try to solve as many problems as you can.